Hi, I'm John F. Allen.
And I'm R.J. Sullivan.
And we're the Two Towers.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Two Towers Talk Show Easter egg section for the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice. I am John F. Allen, Tower 1.
And I'm R.J. Sullivan, Tower 2.
Here we're going to have a brief show where we go over some of the Easter eggs that were featured in the Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice film. So, spoiler alert, if you have not seen the film, you might want to go ahead and check it out before you watch this show, okay? Alright, so, well, some of the more obvious Easter eggs have to do with the way that certain poses were made and scenes were filmed. There's one where Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are all facing Doomsday, and Batman is on the side of a building, and that mirrors the cover of a Dark Knight issue of the Dark Knight Returns to Frank Miller. You see that on your screen right there. So you'll see how those two images are similar. So that's where they drew the inspiration for that. One of the other ones was when Clark Kent decided that he wasn't going to cover the sports section like Perry White wanted him to, and decided to pursue the Bat Vigilante in Gotham. And then Perry White summarily proceeds to tell him that it's not 1938 anymore. Well, if you didn't know, if you fans out there didn't know, that 1938 was the year that Superman debuted as a comic.
I did know that.
Yes, so that's another little tidbit of.
But I did. I actually missed that reference.
You missed that
cool.
one? Yeah.
I'm sure that was done on purpose. But yeah, that one went past me. What else you got?
Well, we've got the basically the death of Robin when Batman is in the Batcave. He passes a display case that has a Robin uniform in it, and it says something along the lines, ha ha ha, joke's on you, Batman. This is to allude to the comics where Jason Todd, one of the Robins that Batman trained, was killed, brutally murdered by the Joker. Ironically, that character, for all you kids that are young and don't remember this, basically they had it to where you would write in whether or not you wanted Jason Todd to be killed, and the overwhelming response was that they wanted him to be killed, and so they actually killed him, and the Joker beat him to death with a crowbar.
I remember that issue.
Yes. But
it was a big deal at the time, and
yes.
I guess I thought it still was kind of a big deal. I don't know if it's survived the way Dark Knight and other things, Killing Joke and such,
right,
are still around. I guess not so much.
Well, the thing is that for you guys in the know there, you'll know that Jason Todd was thought to be dead for years. I mean, this was in the 80s, so I mean, you know, they brought him back, and he became the Red Hood, and now he's like the Bat Guano, crazy kid from Batman's past, who's part of the Batman family, but's off his rocker a bit. So it's funny to see him back in that capacity. He was one of the people that you thought was going to stay dead, like Bucky, but then again, you know, they didn't keep him dead either. So
Norman Osborn. Oh, sorry.
Another Easter egg is when you have the dream sequence in the desert with Batman. You see a giant Omega symbol in the distance as he's staring off towards the ruins of the city. Of course, fans of DC Comics would recognize that as that Omega symbol as the symbol for Darkseid. So that dream sequence actually has significance in the fact that it was alluding to the coming of Darkseid, as did the parademons, those little flying bug-like things that were attacking from the sky. Those were the parademon drones of Darkseid. There was significance in those.
Let me jump in here real quick on that dream sequence because I had a thought I don't think I've shared with you yet.
Oh, okay.
In that dream sequence when he looks to me very much like the Dark Knight uniform is what it looks like he's wearing. I remember it was kind of a baggy looking, almost military cowl as opposed to what he normally wears, and looked a little bit bigger and gruffer than what he wears kind of a suit of armor through much of the movie. But I thought that really harkened back to the Frank Miller look. Has anyone else commented on that, or do you think I'm off on that? Or?
No, I think you're right on that. That was something that they were definitely going for because there were a lot of themes within this film that borrowed from The Dark Knight Returns, from the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns. So there's definitely something there. But also something in that sequence, in that specific dream sequence, was when Superman came down the hole and he had all of the people with his insignia on his shoulder and this kind of thing. And you see that was borrowed from the Injustice Among Us, which was a comic but also was a game, an online game. So the elements were that Lois Lane was killed, and this set off Superman, and he becomes this dark caricature of who he was. Superman in the film Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice, Superman tells Batman that he lost Lois, and that was the impetus for him to become this tyrant and use his powers to decimate the world and conquer the world and be an evil tyrant. So there is that particular thing. Also, another Easter egg is in the little snippets of data that Bruce Wayne uncovered from Lex Luthor and shared with Wonder Woman. There was a video clip of Silas Stone, Dr. Silas Stone, and he was working on what appeared to be an upper torso of a human. That was his son, Victor Stone, aka Cyborg. But what was also not readily apparent to some people was that there was this box, and it kind of like morphed, and then it like moved over to where Victor was. That was a mother box, and that has to do with Darkseid. So I guess when the Cyborg film comes out, we'll see more of that, and we'll see how the mother box came to Earth, or it came into the possession of Dr. Silas Stone, and how that affected the building of the cyborg body, which Victor Stone lives in. An accident that, of course, caused him to lose most of his physical body. So that was another interesting little Easter egg. All right. Did you happen to notice anything in particular?
I didn't notice. I mean, I noticed that it was at Star Labs, but
right.
I mean, not being a DC comic reader so much, I picked up on the fact that, having watched The Flash, that I didn't even know that Star Labs had made it into the comics. I figured they probably had, but it was kind of cool to see a reference from the TV show.
There was also when there was that sequence where Batman was on the docks and he was driving a Batmobile around after the terrorists that were working for Lex Luthor. He went through one of the buildings, and one of the buildings said Nicholson Docks. And that was...
I didn't catch that one.
That was in reference to Jack Nicholson, of course, who was the actor who played the Joker in the 1989 Batman film.
Missed that.
Yeah, so...
I would have known what it was referencing had I seen it.
Right, yeah, so that was another little Easter egg that was thrown in there. Of course, you also have the Dark Knight Returns in and of itself, elements borrowed heavily with the bat armor, things of that nature. You also have the Crisis on Infinite Earths. Some people may not have realized that, but when Bruce Wayne had the dream sequence where someone was reaching out to him and saying, you know, it's all because of her, it's true. That was the Flash. He had apparently ran so fast to travel through time to let him know that.
And I don't want to get too much into it. That was one of my complaints about the movie was I had no idea what was going on, and they did not throw you a bone. If you did not know what was going on, you just didn't know, or hope that you happened to know somebody who could explain it to you, because it was just completely out of nowhere. And I can't imagine what the average movie. Well, I know what the average moviegoer thought, because I was thinking the same thing. Like, what is going on here? And I was given nothing for my patience.
Well, the casual moviegoer would not know that this was the deal.
It
with
didn't.
This.
It didn't look much
didn't
like
explain.
Flash.
Right,
Yeah.
and then that was another thing. The depiction of Flash in the costume really wasn't something that someone would see, other than the fact that it was red, which, you know, I had picked up on it. But I'm a longtime DC fan, so, you know, longtime DC fans probably pick up on it, but casual moviegoers or someone who just reads maybe a couple of titles in DC here and there, they wouldn't.
Where I fall. Yeah.
Right, they wouldn't have picked up on that. So that's something that you know, was thrown in there that probably went over the heads of a lot of people. Another little interesting Easter egg, which I found out later, much to my chagrin. And when I did discover this, I didn't like it, and I don't like it. But in the beginning, near the beginning of the film, Lois Lane is on assignment in the Middle East, and she has a photographer with her. That photographer is Jimmy Olsen, but Jimmy Olsen turned out to be CIA agent. And this was, it was like, okay, why? But, you know, okay. So, apparently, from what I've read, Zack Snyder felt like that there wasn't enough room for the character of Jimmy Olsen in the Superman core cast of characters or whatnot. I mean, to me, that seems kind of silly, because you've got Superman, you've got Lois Lane, you've got Perry White. That's 3 people, and if you count Lex Luthor, that's 4. Why can't you have 5 people in the Superman mythos?
Well, and being the only photographer for the paper, just from a practical point of view, it'd be very easy to work them in. But go ahead.
Right. You know, to me that was just a cop out. You know, I guess he just didn't want to develop the character because he maybe didn't like him or whatever. Whatever the reasons, I don't know. I'm not in Zack Snyder's head, thank God. But, you know, that being said, then that's not a diss towards Zack Snyder before fans of him, you know, cry in uproar or whatnot. I like the man. I own most of his films, so that tells you anything. But, you know, in this particular instance or whatnot, it was leaving me scratching my head thinking, you know, what gives? But
Right.
that there's also, and there was also a call number during the Silas Stone, Victor Stone sequence that alluded to 82. It was one of the numbers, and I don't remember the first numbers. I think it was 11 something. But that was the year that Cyborg debuted in the New Teen Titans, which, again, these are Easter eggs for fans of the comics that you might not pick up if you weren't really into this kind of
That
thing.
one I'm not sure how. That sounds tough to verify, but that's an interesting correlation regardless, I guess, is where I'll leave that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not tough for me to verify because I happen to remember the year that Cyborg came out. And why are you using particularly 82 in a number sequence that contains 6 numerals? I mean, to me, that just seemed kind of like the whole 1938 thing with Perry White. So, you know, that's, you know, pretty much it, other than, and the Death of Superman theme, you know, that was a big part of the whole thing, you know, the events leading up with Doomsday and all that kind of stuff. And, of course, there's a picture from 1918 which depicted Wonder Woman and a bunch of other soldiers. Some looked like they were Native American, others looked like they were European. One of the people was Steve Trevor, who is the great grandfather of the current Steve Trevor, who will be played by Chris Pine in the upcoming Wonder Woman movie, if you didn't know. So, but that's it. Guys, if you're watching this and you have any Easter eggs that you found in this film, please put them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. We would love to know what we maybe missed. We'd love to interact with you, so please make sure that you do that. And also subscribe to our channel so you can get all of our videos. That's one thing that's important. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, so we can continue to move forward with our channel. And we thank you for tuning in.
Awesome.
Ewa.
The Two Towers Talk Show is sponsored in part by Showtime Cinema in Mooresville, Indiana. Their friendly staff is always willing to go the extra mile to make your movie-going experience an enjoyable and memorable one. Enjoy the comfort of their new cushioned seating in their spacious auditoriums, and while you're there, be sure to stop by the concession stand and purchase some popcorn where real butter topping is an option. They're located at 300 South Bridge Street in Mooresville, Indiana. We hope to see you at the movies. Be sure to check out our advertising partner, DC and Marvel, a universal alliance. They are a friendly Facebook community who offer digital comic book giveaways, games, tournaments, and viewing parties. Follow the link below and give them a look. You'll be glad you did.